You're making perfect sense here. They are just not hearing it, bro. Like, they don't give a fuck about how logical you sound right now. What's up, world? Welcome back to Cancer Thoughts. It's your boy Better Days here. Dating has become a really hot topic in our society recently, especially with podcasts like the Whatever Podcast, Fresh and Fit, and a myriad of other podcasts, entering the space and becoming as popular as they become.
I am fascinated by hoes. I'll say it. I'm absolutely fascinated by the way the hoe mind works, the way the hoe hive works. I'm fascinated.
Next
I cover it on my show. You are correct.
A lot of people have, been struggling in the dating scene recently, and there's no wonder why those podcasts have become as popular as they have. Now, one of the things I've tried to avoid on this channel is talking about dating, especially because I'm not a dating expert, nor am I trying to be. But the video that I'm gonna show you guys today is something that I couldn't really pass up, because when you come across content like this, you kind of have to react to it, because the hypocrisy that I saw in this video and the nonsensical paradoxes that I saw in this video is something that's a wonder and a marvel to behold. But before we get into that, you guys already know what to do. Hit that like and subscribe button for more content. I'm trying to make sure as many people find this channel as possible. And the only way I'm going to do that is if you guys hit that like and subscribe button. I'm trying to stop being broke, guys. And the only way I'm going to do that is if you hit the like and subscribe button. Now, the video I'm about to show you guys today comes from the Joe Budden podcast. He was talking to, I want to say, one of his fellow cast members. And they were reacting to a video from, I believe it was Tyler Perry. And he was talking about how Black women specifically are refusing to find love, especially because they have these standards that have become unrealistic in a sense. And essentially, he's been getting a lot of backlash from it. Now, one of his castmates is also a woman, and she took exception to some of his comments. And they basically had a bit of a back and forth that I think is important for us to react to today. So,
without further ado,
Tyler Perry.
Yo.
Oh yeah, Tyler Perry. Come on, tell me about Tyler Perry.
I mean, on to the same topic. It's a clip.
Yeah, there's a clip. Let me get it.
It's right there.
Okay.
Mel
Tyler Perry.
Mel clip him. Clip him down.
Listen,
and Mel squared up with me earlier too.
Especially Black women, and I might get in trouble for saying this, but I will. In our society right now, Black women are making a lot more money for the most part than Black men, right? There are a lot of Black men who are successful, but for the most part, Black women are making the money. So if you can find love, if that man works, at whatever job, and is a good man and is good to you, and honors the house and honors his wife and does what he can, because his gift may not be your gift.
Exactly.
That is okay. That's not somebody who's beneath you.
Yeah.
That's somebody who came to love you at your worth, right?
Yes.
And as long as he's secure in himself to know that, yep, she makes most of the money, all I can pay is the light bill. As long as she's comfortable enough to say, I'm going to cover the mortgage and all the other stuff, you handle the light bill, baby, you can take me to dinner every now and then. That is fine.
Yeah.
all right, before they get into that, I don't see anything wrong with what Tyler Perry said there. And let's be 100% honest. Let's call a spade a spade. Most women want a dude that makes a lot of money.
It is what it is.
Okay. And Tyler Perry is a billionaire. He is one of the few Black billionaires there are in the world. So him saying this, for him, it's actually working against him in a sense, because he knows that women want very wealthy men. So for him to be saying this isn't necessarily working in his best interest, which just goes to show how profoundly I think what he's saying is and how much it should be listened to, because he is working against his own self-interest in saying that, well, listen, if you guys are making all this money, it's okay for you to find a guy who's not making as much money because you're already providing that standpoint. But I can see, especially with her reaction now, that she is not going to be trying to hear that. But let's get into it.
Okay. No, it's not. It's not fine.
First of all, one of the things I take issue with is just how he worded all of that. Talking about how the man, found you at your worst. That is an assumption. Like, the narrative.
Worst.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, it's not.
He
I
did.
thought he said he loved you at. He loved you at your worst.
And it's just like,
That is exactly what he said. He didn't say he loved you at your worst. He said at your worth, but okay.
that's such an assumption. That's such a created narrative that he pulled out of his ass. What is he even fucking talking about? What if you didn't meet her at her worst? What if you met her at her highest point? The only thing that was quote unquote missing from her life was a significant other or a husband, but everything else was coming up roses in her life. Like the narrative is just
negate what he was trying to say, right? What if he did meet, or what if he did meet her at her highest point? That doesn't negate
highest,
his end point.
middle, lowest, whatever. It just the way he worded it and saying it met you at your worst and was an honorable man, basically picked you up, dusted you off. I didn't like the way that was worded. That's number one.
All right, so I'm going to stop it really quick there again. That is not what he said. She is going on a tangent here, and I get it. He might have said some things that she didn't agree with, so which is why she's like reacting very emotionally here, which is something that tends to happen when you're having a conversation with women is they react emotionally, and that's just the way they are. I'm not even going to get like too upset about it, but it's like,
were you even listening?
She's already just like starting this off, not hearing anything that he was saying. And what he's, and this is one of the things that bothers me the most about having conversations like this, because when you're making logical sense, what they'll say is sometimes
it's not what he said, it's how he said it.
It doesn't matter how he worded it if everything he said is a fact. How he worded it is irrelevant if he's saying facts. I hate having conversations like this because most of the time it just comes down to how you feel about what he said, not exactly what he actually said.
Facts don't care about your feelings.
Doing the comparison. Let me just ask a question in terms of like guys. What guy is going to be able to egotistically handle his woman being the breadwinner?
A lot. A whole lot of dudes. And here's the thing. Y'all just don't want those dudes. Don't try to turn this around on guys and be like, well, what kind of guy is going to... No. There are plenty of dudes out here who are great, who don't give a shit about their girl making more money than them. Y'all care about that, which is why y'all are rejecting those dudes and you guys are oftentimes unhappy in those relationships because you guys want a guy who's making more money than you are. And I'm pretty sure she's going to go ahead and get into that a little bit. And I can predict already that Joe Budden is not going to be trying to hear this.
You don't think that that's going to cause long-term problems?
I have a problem with how that question's framed, but there are plenty of men that not only can handle that, but do handle it.
Very true.
Okay.
You position the question like, what man will... Like,
No. I'm not saying, well, what kind of man? Like saying that that's some fucked up shit. But like, honestly, a lot of the experiences that I've witnessed, not my own... Well, no, actually, yes. I've had a couple of my own experiences where my career was on the ascension and his was on the downslope. And it was horrible. It was horrible. Nothing that I did, in no way, shape, or form could I make this man happy because he wasn't happy within. And he made my life a living hell. And it happened twice in my life. And then there's other experiences that I've witnessed from very close girlfriends where if they were the breadwinner, there was just significant interpersonal issues. So that's why I posed the question, like, how many men would be comfortable with having their woman be the breadwinner, primary breadwinner for a lengthy amount of time where it doesn't start to affect him?
I think there are plenty of men that behave in the manner that you're talking about. And I think there's a bunch of men that handle the role extremely well. I don't think his message was speaking to the men, though.
No, he was definitely speaking to women, and he was basically saying because he's...
So how does it get back on us? He talking to the women, saying...
I mean, I couldn't have said that any better myself. It's like, this isn't a conversation about men right now. This is a conversation about women and what you guys say you want and what is necessarily the inherent nature of the gaming landscape right now is like, yo, the game is what it is. Like, are you guys gonna continue to complain about not finding love because of these like metrics that you guys have for how you want to determine what your mate is, or are you gonna find love with the person, or just continue to be alone?
Yeah, no, I was not okay with the way that it was worded, and I was just not okay with the sentiment that a woman is supposed to, like, and it's always directed towards black women. That's the thing, is it's like, that's what he said. He was speaking directly to black women, not women in general, but black women. There is more, like, I can't tell you, my circle of girlfriends runs the spectrum in terms of race and nationality. And every single one of them basically says that they're having the same difficulties when it comes to dating. So to direct the commentary to black women just really kind of was irritating. And a lot of women took issue with the fact that he directed it towards black women and just basically said that you're supposed to resign yourself to certain concessions that you don't really feel like you should have to. You know, when you think about all of the stuff that you like want to manifest for yourself, or, you know, goals that you want to attain and stuff like that, a lot of the time what you want is you want a partner that can share in it with you.
Like a nigga with money. A nigga with money.
My man, listen, she's going into a whole soliloquy about, listen, we know what it is. You want a nigga with money.
Just say it.
You want to do it with money. And what she said earlier and prior to that was something that has some credence in it. He probably shouldn't have just singled out black women, but listen, Tyler Perry's a black man. We're trying to figure out our community here, and I get it. All women want these exact same things. It's not something that's specific to just black women, but the thing that she doesn't mention is black women are oftentimes the loudest in complaining about this, and that's why it's usually framed in the standpoint of, well, black women are the ones that we have to talk to, essentially because all women of other races and ethnicities, they're not the ones going on social media as loudly as possible doing all of this. It's usually black women complaining about, well, where are all the black men and niggas ain't shit and all, and it's just like, listen, the world is set up in the way that it is right now, and you are not about to change the world.
Just accept it.
Now, you can keep complaining about not getting the successes that you want out of life, or you can accept the landscape of the world as what it is and, you know, try to navigate that. But to just continue to complain about it, listen, as she said there, you shouldn't have to, and you don't have to. It's just, it is what it is. And if you're willing to accept that and not complain about the ramifications of your decisions, then great. Nobody's having an issue with that. The problem that I think most people have is the notion that you continue to, like, raise your voice about it and make a huge fuss about it. Listen, if you want to suffer in silence, I don't think anybody cares about it. There's plenty of dudes out here suffering in silence every day that no one cares about. The problem is when it's all in your face, like, y'all ain't shit, y'all need to... Listen, you made the decisions in life that you wanted to make in life, and that's fine. You just don't have to be all up in everybody's face about it. And I think Joe Budden is about to get right into this, but the niggas with money part is just a fact.
We know what it is. But
women of all different ethnicities want a nigga with money. And if you ain't got the money, they probably don't want you, and it's okay. As long as we know what it is what it is.
You want to be equally yoked. That's the term. You want to be, if you're
making, you want a nigga with money.
If you're making money, you would like to be equally yoked.
You don't yoke me.
No, can I ask you a question?
And that man said, don't yoke me. You want a nigga with money. And that's a fact. You want a nigga with money. Stop trying to package it in a way that makes you sound not shallow. And I think that's the thing that makes a lot of people as angry as possible. It's like, listen, we get it, and you're shallow about it, and it's okay to be shallow. Just understand and talk about it in a way that is straightforward, and stop trying to deceive people by packaging it in a, well, we just want to be equally yoked. Come on.
What does that even mean?
Like, we know what it is. And women aren't the only ones that are shallow. Men are shallow too. We're shallow in looks. We're shallow in weight. You guys are shallow with money and height. It's just the way it is. But we understand that we're shallow in these things, and it's non-negotiable for us. Y'all be trying to package it in a way that is like, well, you know, we're just trying to be, you know, we're trying to get a guy on our It's like, what is your level? Like, what, financially speaking? There's not a lot of people making a bunch of money like that in the world. There's, what, maybe 1 or 2% of people making the kind of money that most people want, or most women say they want in a guy. And it's like, the numbers are just not on your side if that's the case. If every single dude out here was saying they wanted a 10 out of 10 woman, relationships would literally never happen.
Use your head!
So like, we just have to be realistic in our expectations of the world here. And I think the relationship scene will just become a much better place once people start being a little bit more honest with each other and with themselves, more importantly.
Can I ask you a question? So when he rich...
Wow, that was aggressive.
So when he's rich, can he say, I want her to be equally yoked? When he's rich, can he have that same stipulation and say...
Sure, he can.
But he'll get roasted when he says that.
I don't know.
I don't like that question that he just posed there because, listen, The reality of the situation is men and women want different things in relationships, and men don't give a shit about how much a woman makes. And like him just saying that the equivalent of being equally yoked or whatever is a beautiful woman. Pussy and like money are the two. I want to say it was Rebecca Pope that said this, but
Pussy and money.
Okay.
This is the equalizer. This is what comes in. Women use pussy, vagina, to say, oh, I got him with this sex, right? Men use money.
Yeah.
So money is this equalizer. This men get access to women that they would never have access to because of money.
That's so true.
Women do it because men will sleep with just about anything.
That's true.
when we talk about like men having money and when we talk about like, you know, women being attractive, those are the two things that equal each other. The idea that like a dude cares about your money or how much you make as a woman is asinine to me. I don't know where it came from, but it's not equal. That's not the way we look at it. That's not the perspectives that we share. The reality of the situation is women look for money and success, men look for beauty. That's that. So he should have probably asked her, "All right, cool. Like you're making all this money, great. What if he doesn't care about that? What if he just asked that you be attractive and in shape?" That should have been the comp to what he was saying there, not like him requiring her to be equally yoked or whatever. I don't even like that term. That term is annoying as shit to me if I'm being 100% honest. But male attraction is predicated on how attractive you are as a woman. And yes, that means physically, not just like, and obviously we don't want like a beautiful idiot or anything like that. That's not what I'm talking about. But our attraction is predicated primarily on your physical attraction first.
A man.
I just want the women that want niggas with money to just say, I want niggas with money. I don't need the fancy term, equally yoked. I don't need, like, women that are making coin want, and women that are not making coin want a man with money. That's the only reason I think this clip is pretty hilarious. Tyler Perry ain't saying nothing that Kevin Samuels ain't said, that men all over the world.
He said the one thing.
Men all over the world have said.
I agree with Mel that he should not, in my opinion, have said, yo, he loved you at your lowest, because that's not a definitive. You can't say she was at her lowest. You can't say she was at her highest.
True, but
everything else that he said, I totally agree with.
But a woman could say
that point right there, he should not have said. I agree. But everything else, no, Mel didn't touch on.
So if a woman said,
she did. She said, I want niggas. Those women want men that are equally yoked. She's saying that.
If a woman said, I loved him at his lowest, would we have the same outrage, man?
Again, that's not what he said. Y'all need to play it back and y'all need to really listen to what he said. He didn't say anything about loving her at her worst. He said loving her at her worth. The two are, I know they sound very similar, but they're two different words. Worth and worst are two completely different things. I think we need to replay that back and hear exactly what he said, because I don't think he just arbitrarily brought that out and just like, oh, he loved you at your worst. That's not what he said. And listen, I might be wrong, so I might need to rewatch it, and maybe I heard something completely different.
Because his gift may not be your gift.
Exactly.
That is okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's not somebody who's beneath you.
Yeah.
That's somebody who came to love you at your worst.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't hear him say he loved her at her worst.
No, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about women who are saying I met a guy and he was at his lowest and I loved him anyways, blah blah blah. No, we hear that story a lot. Mm-hmm. And the reality of the situation is when a guy does have money, the reality is that he is going to be able to choose whatever woman that he wants. And a lot of times he's going to want to create the lifestyle that he sees fit for that woman.
So
that's what I'm talking about.
So if we equally yoked, why can't that be the same sentiment from both genders?
Exactly.
You guys do realize that women, we go to work. The expectation is for us to go to work, earn a certain amount of money to support the lifestyles that we become accustomed to. We're also supposed to, carry children, bear them, raise them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just one job. It's like a million.
The expectation from who? That's certainly not the expectation from men, is for you to make money and do. We don't give, like, I cannot stress this enough. We do not give a fuck about what you do for work, how much money. Now, you said if you have some extravagant lifestyle that a dude can't, then maybe like your money is going to be a factor in your relationship. But in terms of like the expectation of you going to, listen, men weren't the ones who pushed you guys to go to work.
It was your idea.
You guys wanted to be the ones to go to work, and now you're feeling the repercussions of that decision that you guys made in history. And I get it, like the newer generation of women aren't necessarily the ones that did that, but you guys shouldn't be blaming men for that. You should be blaming your predecessors for that. That's just the reality of it. The expectation of you is not to go to work. We don't care. We do not give a fuck. I cannot stress this enough. Like your job, what you do, and how much money you make, it does not matter, especially if you're talking about some wealthy guy, which is essentially what you all say you want. It's like he 100% doesn't give a shit about how much money you make. Like, let's just be 100% honest about that. Is there the expectation of you to take care of the home, bear the children, raise? Absolutely. But that was because that's customarily what you guys were biologically designed to do, and that was the imperative given to you all. We don't care about the work aspect of it. You do.
This is on you!
And if you want to care about that, that's fine. If you want to do that, that's fine. Just make sure that what's required of you in terms of what we do expect from you is what you're also doing as well. But the idea that you guys are talking about, like the expectation is for you guys to go to work. No, the expectation from you for yourself is for you to go to work, not from us.
And it's like the expectation of us to be like...
You didn't answer my question, Mel.
How did I not answer it?
My question was, if that is the expectation, then why can't that be expectation across both genders? That was my question.
When it comes to personal preference, anybody can say whatever they want. If a guy says, I don't want to be around broke bitches, I only want women who are on my level.
Again, that's not what we would say. We would say something along the lines of, I don't want to be around fat bitches. And listen, there would be an entire onslaught coming for that guy. But we don't care. Again, we do not. And she's still dodging his question to a degree here. He wants a direct answer. Why isn't the sentiment the same across both genders when it comes to these things? And I think they're going in roundabouts here, and they're going to be going in roundabouts here. And I think when you try to corner and get to a certain specific point when you're having a conversation with most women, when they know they're wrong, they just won't answer the question directly. And that's I think an underlying issue with most relationships in general, is that when they know they're wrong and when they know some of the things they're saying is nonsensical, they just won't address what you're saying.
Actually, I only want women who are on my level professionally. He's well within his right to say that.
Absolutely. Everybody is well within their right to have whatever preference they have. However, I think and what Tyler Perry is saying is that, if and I think I can't tell you why he said black women, I don't know. But if it's any race, it's irrelevant. When you start saying that I make X, and we've had this conversation a zillion times, when you say I make X, let's say X is 400 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Dog, there's a very small number of Americans, regardless of their race, regardless of their gender, regardless of their age, that make that amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
So you're starting with a very small pool.
Okay.
So when we put a black on it, right, black men,
mm-hmm.
that pool becomes even smaller.
I understand that.
Cool. Black single men, smaller. Mm-hmm. Black heterosexual men, smaller. Black men that got good dick, smaller. Funny, smaller. Charismatic, smaller. Comedy, got sense of humor, smaller.
Listen, you're making perfect sense here. They are just not hearing it, bro. Like, they don't give a fuck about how logical you sound right now, G. Like, that's the thing here. We talk from a place of logic, and everything he's saying here makes 100% sense. But they don't give a fuck, bro. They don't care. And listen, they're within their right to not care. But you're talking to somebody who is not trying to hear a word you're saying right now, which is why,
Please, just save your breath.
I think some of these conversations are nonsensical and are a waste of time because they're not hearing it. They know what you're saying is a fact. They're just not giving a fuck about it.
Now you are dealing with a very, very, very small number of people. Now you have to accept that it's a numbers game and you may never find that dude. So when you take the money piece off of it, it now opens up your pool to quality men and individuals that you could potentially settle down with because you have money. Money is not a staple for y'all to survive because you got your own money. Now I'm going to go settle down with this dope ass man that loves the shit out of me, that is a good provider. Provision is not only financial. He does all of the other things and checks all of the other boxes outside of the financial box. And y'all could go off and sell off and be super duper duper happy. People are not
Women
opening.
don't want to do that.
That's what he's saying.
I know.
He's saying that people are not opening up their minds to that because when you put that money stipulation on it, you immediately lower your eligible pool of potential suitors.
I'm telling you and him that they don't give a fuck what y'all talking about.
True.
Yeah, they don't get it. I saw people was.
Thank you. Someone is on the same page with me, man. They do not care. They hear what you're saying. They just not hearing it, bro. You're trying to be logical here to someone who is illogical. They don't give a fuck. And listen, I'm not trying to make it seem like this is an amorphous thing amongst all women. All women do not think like this. It's just the majority of women do. And they're going to be lonely. They're going to be the ones with cats. They're going to be the ones unhappy who are turning into the Karens of the world. It's just that's just the reality of the situation.
It's inevitable.
But listen, I cannot. Joe Budden, listen, I don't watch the Joe Budden podcast, but I cannot agree more with everything he's saying right now. And I think I'm probably going to watch a lot more of Joe Budden after this video, but I think it's important to say that most people are entitled to want whatever the fuck they want out of relationships. They're entitled to want whatever the fuck they want from their significant other. Whether or not they're going to find it is a completely different matter. And especially with stipulations like what he was just mentioning here with the financial, if it's something as shallow as just finances, and I say this and I sound a little bit hypocritical in this, especially because I mentioned earlier in the fact that we're shallow when it comes to looks and weight and everything too. Looks and weight have nothing to do with the person within. And I know we all try to make it sound like, well, we care more about what's within and all that.
That's bullshit. That's major bullshit.
Let's call a spade a spade. Let's be 100% honest about this. We care about looks first, and I think that goes across both gender. We care about looks first, but then there are the other things that we care about that are non-negotiables. And I think if most people can just narrow down their non-negotiables to about 3 things, they'll have much more luck in terms of just the dating landscape in general. Because when it comes to like just how this is all set up, it's not working right now. It's just not working right now. And I think one of the reasons that the dating podcasts have blasted off as they have is because people are recognizing that it's not working right now and they're trying to find solutions to it. But when you guys are told those solutions and you're still not trying to hear it, just stop complaining about it. Like, that's all I think most guys are trying to get across is that, listen, we get it. You say you don't want a nigga with money. You say you don't want a nigga without money. That's fine. But to continue to complain about the fact that you're not finding him is another matter, and we're just not trying to hear it. I'm just not trying to listen to y'all complain about it over and over when you've been told these are the numbers. This is why you're less likely to find the guy that you're looking for.
To his quote, like, nigga, only paying a light bill. I'm not even having a conversation with that man. And there's people that really think like that. Like, yo, you got to come. I don't care. You still got to come with A, B, C, D. No matter how unrealistic that expectation is, it's still their expectation. It's true. And they just never going to find them.
And you can't be mad at somebody else's preferences at all. You cannot be mad at somebody else's preferences.
Yeah.
Because those are their
That's
preferences.
why
you can.
No, you can't. That's what they prefer.
Yeah, okay.
That's why when Mel say the equally yoked shit, it's like, all right, can't nobody be mad at somebody that's saying that.
Y'all ain't speaking on. They
No,
get mad.
but if you want to be equally yoked, it's equal at that point. So when the man is up 10 million, 5 million, 400,000, why we not equally? Why the equally yoked thing don't come into play then? Because they look at their yokes as different.
Yes, man. You got to understand the way their minds work. Nothing with this land is equal, okay? They say all that equal bullshit, but what it means, and I hate to sound like one of these red pill motherfuckers because I genuinely hate that entire movement, but it's just a fact. In their mind, equal is you pay for everything, you do the courting, you plan the date, you do everything in terms of the dating, and they just appear. They show up.
It's all you, buddy.
This whole equality works completely different for both of us. They don't give a shit what you're talking. It just sounds good for them to say equality because if they were to say, well, no, I want a dude to do everything, we would all know exactly what that is from jump. And we would probably be a little bit more like, well, what are you bringing to the table in terms of this? That's all this is, bro. This is just packaging to make it sound like they're not as shallow as they actually are, which is okay. We're both shallow in different ways. I cannot stress this enough. It's just we're more forthcoming with our shallowness than they are. That's all it is.
So why you can't look at a man's yoke as being different when he's providing all the other things except for the money piece? Then he's doing all that shit. When a woman is a stay-at-home mom, they say, yo, dog, I provide this. And that's true. I'm not knocking it at all. The man comes home with the bacon. Shorty does everything else. She fry it up in the pan, like the song used to say. So why, when the lady is the breadwinner, she's corporate, she's kicking ass, she coming in the house at 11 o'clock at night, the man done reared the children, put them to bed, fed them, read to them, did their homework, and did all of those other things. If that works for their specific relationship, that shouldn't be frowned upon.
Well,
that's not a really common narrative that gets
common or uncommon.
That gets told at all.
We're in a theoretical world. We talking about equally yoked, and what y'all saying is equally yoked don't mean equally yoked. It only stands as equal.
Listen, that's where the video ends. He's speaking 100% facts. I don't disagree with anything he's saying. I do think he steered off the conversation a little bit because, one, she was saying that he said he met them at their worst. It's not what he said. Tyler Perry didn't say that at all. That's number one. And number two, I think the prompt that he was making earlier there was like something that I just disagree with. I don't think men and women look at money the same. I think men and women are attracted to completely different things. And to even try to say that we are attracted to the same things is nonsensical, and I think is misinformed. Now, my final thoughts on this is, listen, ladies, want what you want, and you're entitled to want whatever the fuck you want, and no one is going to get mad at you about it. Just be more forthcoming with what you want, as opposed to, trying to package it in some like more digestible manner to make yourself look like you're something that you're not. It's okay for you to say that I want a nigga with money, and no one is going to cast aspersions. No one is going to cast aspersions your way because of that. But if you're the kind of person who's just like trying to sit there and be like, well, I just want someone who's kind and nice and he just treats me right. It's like,
Stop lying!
all of that is vague bullshit for what you really want, which is you want a nigga with money, you want a nigga to take care of you, you want a nigga to put a roof over your head, pay for everything you guys do, and that's okay. Just say you want that. The fundamental difference between us is we will say straight up, I don't want no fat bitches, I don't want no ugly bitches, and I don't want no bitch that's gonna be, annoying as fuck. Those are the three things, and we will be forthcoming about that. But with y'all, it'll be some like, oh, feelings, and I just care about the person within. You don't. You do not. Like, let's call a spade, and this will just be a better situation for both of us if we know exactly where each other is coming from. That's all I got for this video, guys. If you liked what you heard today, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you didn't like what you heard, thanks for watching the whole video. Consider leaving a comment in the comment section and telling me exactly what you disagreed with. Either way, thanks for joining me on this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.